is don't know the answer, I'll find it. Don't have the time, I'll make it. Great customer service, you'll get it. She sounds like a busy lady. Thank you for making the time to come speak to us tonight. Let's give her a warm GMFI welcome.
Well, I'm glad that I get to be the first inaugural speaker because I would not want to be here after 6 months of fabulous speakers and then I have to follow somebody. So I'm glad that I get to be the very first one because I think it will really only go up from here, and I also get to be a part of something that Mark and the board and everybody created. Not all my inspiration was positive, but it's still inspiration. So to tell you what that means, so my parents got a divorce when I was 8, and between the time I was 8 and the time I was 13, our family was kind of floundering around, and my mom, she really, in my opinion, really wasn't around a whole lot. So I knew in my heart of hearts that I could do better, and so I called my dad when I was 13, and I just said, I gotta move in with you. So he said to me, you've got 2 weeks to get your crap together, Missy, or you're not going to be here either. So I heeded that advice and thought, well, this is my only chance because I really don't have another chance. And that kind of is the rest of the story, so to speak. So that is what I would call my first frying pan moment. So I think I was thrown into a frying pan, and I was just hovering right over the sizzle of the heat there, and I think that higher power was definitely above me. Persistency, that was never an issue my whole entire life. Just maybe my persistence wasn't in the right area, so I got that figured out now. But I did work right after NTC at Midwest Communications for 4 years, and then at WAOW TV9 for 5 years, and those were awesome jobs. And I learned so much about how to market other people's businesses and how to connect with people, how to sell, how to put plans together, just the social aspect of business relationships I developed with so many people. I absolutely loved it, and I made a great salary. I left Channel 9 making $75,000 a year. I mean, it was, I'm only telling you this because there's a story that relates to that. Not bragging by any means. And I had a full benefits package, a 401k, I had everything there. And then somebody came up to me and said, we would like you to work at American Family Insurance. And I said, oh no, I do not want to be an insurance agent. They're boring. I just can't do it. And Kelly at the time was my district manager, our district manager, and she said that's the exact reason why we want to hire you. So that very first year, I decided I just was not going to look back. I was all in, I dove in, and I basically went from making $75,000 a year to $25,000 a year. And I had a daughter, at the time was 13, I owned a home, and I had no benefits. I had nothing. I barely could even put food on my table. But this was my business, and I was not about to let it go. In 2005, I opened up my business, and I flipped my sign to open, and I had my phones, and I had a card table and chairs, and I thought maybe people were just going to come in. I didn't know. Nobody was coming. And the phone did ring, and actually it was my husband, Scott, who was not my husband at the time, asked me if I'd be interested in golfing that day. I got nothing. I have no customers. I have got nothing. So I flipped my sign to close. Flipped my sign to close, and out the door I went. And Scott couldn't golf that day. He hooked me up with somebody from M&I Bank. Anyway, I took my talents and my communication skills with some people that I knew on the golf course, and ended up partnering with a company that just happened to be letting go of their benefits package. So I'm like, really? Okay, so they were dropping all their health insurance, and they wanted to everybody to carry their own individual health plans. And we had just rolled out with this amazing health product. Well, I ended up becoming the #1 health writer in 3 months nationwide in our company as a result of that. So I kind of thought, yeah, this might be for me. I think I got the hang of this. And I built my book of business from $48,000, that big whopping $48,000 that very first year, to $1 million in 3 years. So I thought that was pretty good. So I did not too shabby there. And I surrounded myself with centers of influences. Every chamber event, everything I could get my hands on, I was a part of. My family didn't see me a whole lot. You know, I was out of the office a lot. I made a lot of sacrifices and stuff to do that. But in my heart of hearts, I really felt like I was doing the right thing. And I think people were kind of wondering why I was working so hard and still really not making that much money. Even though the business was growing, I really was not making that much money. So then, the recession hit. And that was me. And I literally I was so broke, I seriously did not even know what was happening. At this time when the recession hit, I had been raising money for Stuff the Bus, for kids in Marathon County that needing school supplies. That was the 3rd year that I was doing that. And it was hugely successful. And even though I didn't have a lot of money, I was trying to help parents that didn't have a lot of money try to help out their kids. And it was a very interesting story. So this is my frying pan moment #2. So this is what happened. I thought it actually was the end of my success, and all of my friends and family, or not all of them, but a lot of them told me I should probably get out and run, and why in God's green earth are you even staying in this? And it was because it was in my heart of hearts, and I truly believed it, and I was going to make this work because I knew what I was capable of doing. As many of you know what you're capable of doing, and if you're capable of it, do it. That's how I was feeling. And so what I thought was the end of my success really actually wasn't. It was just the beginning. I just did not know that yet. And what I thought I had lost, what ended up happening during that time when the recession, so many people were calling and calling and calling and changing their deductibles, and I was losing premium because they were raising their deductibles, or they couldn't pay their bills, so then the policies were canceling out, and it just went from bad to worse. I mean, it just was a snowball effect, just right down to nothing. So I ended up, that was in the summer, it was like July, and I got the bus thing going, and it's out front, and I'm still trugging along, and we had a huge successful day with the bus that day. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think we ended up doing 2 buses full of supplies. It was incredible. We get done, and I go back into the office, and the bus is all locked up. I go back into the office, and I get a call from my oldest daughter, Michelle. Mom, is there something wrong with our lights? Because they're not on. I'm like, there must be a power outage or something in the area. She goes, nope. She goes, nothing is working at our house. Okay, so my lights are out. So I go home. I go home, and I light a candle. And I light my candle, and I pop a bottle of wine. And I said to myself, fortunately I had a cell phone, so I called my dad and I says, hey, you know those milk jugs that are full of water that are frozen when you do all your pig roasts? Can you bring those over for me? He's like, sure, why? I'm like, just bring them over. It's summer, it's hot, my refrigerator is out, and I packed my refrigerator full of these ice buckets, these ice containers. My dad's like, is there anything I can help you with? Nope. I just want to sit here and I want to assess my situation for a little while. So I took advantage of it that night. It actually took me like 2 nights to really figure it out, but I sat there, drank my wine, read a book, well, part of a book, because I can never finish a whole book. And I figured out exactly what I was going to do. And I honestly came back guns a-blazing. So that is the start of the rest of the story. That is truly where that happened. So I'm glad those days are behind me. So the one thing that I learned from that is there's a lot of businesses that shut down during that time. A lot of businesses. And I could have been one of them. I had a $187,000 debt to repay back to American Family. I had, my lights were off, my credit cards were maxed because I was trying to put food on the table or gas in my car or whatever the deal is. And talked to a lot of small business owners and they were doing the same thing. But I didn't want to file bankruptcy, my dad would kill me. And I just was going to get through this. To get where I wanted to be, I had to do something I never done before ever. So my biggest challenge was, I had never put together a 5-year strategic plan ever in my entire life, but I was serious about it, and I knew a couple people that took a look at my stuff and gave me a few tips and ideas and sat with me graciously without charging me, and we came up with a plan, and I had a 5-year plan. I had to find a new office, not because I wanted to find a new office, but because I had to find a new office. Because at that time, I was now on a month-to-month lease, and the people that were on the other side of me wanted my space, and they said, you have 30 days to vacate. Okay, so here we go. And I found a new place, and I really liked it a lot. It was Alfred Nakola's place. And I was driving to Medford, and he was calling me. He says, did you sign that lease over yet? I'm just on my way back to the office. I'm going to do that like the first thing that I walk in the door. And he's like, well, he said, I have to tell you something. He goes, we had to lease it out to somebody else that already faxed it in. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm being evicted. I am broke, and I don't have a home. I am like, where am I going to go? So I managed to talk to the people next door, and I'm like, are you sure you want to move 30 days from now? I mean, is this really, you're all ready to bulldoze and do everything? And they said, well, we have a little bit of time. I said, I've got an eye on a new place, which I didn't. And I sitting at my desk, and then Alfred calls me back later that day and asked me how I was doing. I was crying. I was so upset, and Alfred spent about 20 minutes on the phone praying with me, and he had me convinced that God had another plan and it was going to be so much better. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to trust in this, even though this is crazy. And I made a call to the president at Nicolay National Bank the next day and asked him if he'd be interested in renting the space. It was empty. I told him what I could pay. I wasn't going to pay any more, and he said no. I'm like, okay. So then, a week went by, and he calls me back. He's like, well, maybe we can talk. And since it was an empty space, I did need it to be completely built for me. Another crazy suggestion. And I need 6 months free rent.
Good job.
I got nothing to lose. I was going to ask for everything. So Scott, fortunately, is a business law attorney and drafted up the lease. And he said that was a crazy lease I just drafted. But they did go with it, and I am in there, and I signed a 10-year lease agreement. I did get the 6 months rent-free, and if it wasn't for that, I don't know what I would have done. The best part about that whole scenario is because I gutted in essence, the dynamics of my business, and I ended up having to really take a look at all of what was happening, the profit, the loss, the claims, where were the claims coming from, all of these things. I learned a ton of stuff about what not to do and was able to hang in there. So if this ever happens again, I feel like I am ahead of the game because I did come in on a high note from day one. I came in, it was uphill battle the whole way along. It's not an uphill battle anymore, so I'm happy to say that. And the view from the top is excellent, but it is slippery, so it can be. So these are just some things about me. I think some of the things that made me successful is I take time to listen to my customers. I know them, I know their names, I know where they've been on vacation, I know their kids' names, if I know that they've got kids. And I know where they've been. If they're not feeling well, we send them cards, we follow up on them, we want to know what's happening in their life. I was asked to maybe talk a little bit about some of the books and the classes and things. I don't know if anybody's had the chance to ever pick up on the LinkedIn for Success. Has anybody read that, or has anybody taken Wayne's? Have you taken that class?
Yep.
That was an amazing class. Teaches you how to block out your competitors. If you are friends with, or not friends, but a connection with somebody on LinkedIn that happens to be a competitor, why would you want that? Because now they're stealing your information. So you can actually go in and block them, and that book tells you how to do it. But if you have a chance to see him, I know he's coming up in Green Bay very soon. So if you type in his name and look for that, you'll get a list of his upcoming events that he's having. Well worth my time. I've been to lots of things, and lots of things have not been worth my time, and that's been one of them. He teaches you like little steps, like how to move your summary of yourself up to the top. There's this thing called jab, jab, right hook. Has anybody heard of that? Jab, 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 right hook. The jab, jab, right hook is you give them a little bit of information, you give them a little bit of information, a little bit more, and then you hook them in. Sounds pretty easy. Profiles. I capitalize on this one all the time. Yeah, I can tell when somebody's looking at my profile because I get a little notification. And every time that somebody's checking my profile out, I go in and I send them a message and I'm like, oh, hi. I see you were looking at my profile. Is there anything that you're interested in or anything that I can help you out with? And that has been really successful. So if anybody is on LinkedIn and you're looking for ways to tap into, if they are checking out your profile, it's because they're interested in you. So reach out to them. The other one is Dale Carnegie. This Judy Meyer is amazing. So if anybody's ever taken Dale Carnegie class, I really try very, very hard to the little golden book. I try to live by it. So one of the biggest things is the worry one. Because you can't worry about things that you can't control. And the other thing is I can have 100 things to do in a day, and I try really hard to just put those, she taught me how to put those in just a tight compartment, so you're only working at like something for, you think about that 15-minute block of time, and you don't worry about the other 24 hours or 23 hours that are following it. Just concentrate on that one block of time, finish what you're doing, and then just go on to the next. Otherwise you're panic-stricken about not being able to get all of your stuff done. That was huge. Being a leader and, making the other person happy about doing the things that you suggest. And that's a tough one because the before me would have just said, do it this way. And now I'm learning how to so somebody can maybe take interest in what I might be trying to tell them. Sheryl Sandberg, has anybody read the book Lean In at all? Sheryl Sandberg? This is huge for women. Sheryl Sandberg, our company, American Family, she's actually the CFO of Facebook. And she wrote this amazing book called Lean In. And now there are Lean In sessions all over the United States. And it's with other women empowering other women. Some of her, one of her quotes, what about that rat race in the first place? Is it worthwhile, or are you just buying into someone else's definition of success? Only you can decide that, and you'll have to decide it over and over and over. But if you think it's a rat race, before you drop out, take a deep breath. Maybe you picked the wrong job. Try again, and then try again. So I just think there's just one more. Women don't take enough risks. Men are just foot on the gas pedal. We're not going to close the achievement gap until we close the ambition gap. So these are my accomplishments. Scratch agent since 2005, 7 times Affleck, 8 times All-American, J.D. Powers & Associates Distinguished Insurance Agency for 3 years, American Star Award 3 years, 5-time Life Diamond recipient, 2-time Distinguished Life Diamond recipient, Nationwide Company Top 10 in 2014, Life Quality Business recipient 4 times, 19 times District Agent of the Month, Wisconsin Top 10 Agent 17 times. Peak Harvest Award, 2008 premium was $48,000. Last year's premium was $1.7 million. And I'm the second largest new business premium writer in our district. I'm a mentor agent. I was in 2009, and I'm also a mentor agent right now for somebody in my office. And just this year I finished number 85 out of 3,700 agents, so super excited. We're going on a really nice trip in April. Very excited, my husband and I. It sounds like a cliche, but when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So when you think about hitting the bottom of the frying pan, just do it again until you got it. And I'm pretty certain you can do it if that's really, really, truly what you want to do. This is by far and large my favorite thing, and I have been talking probably too long. This is 2 minutes. Do we have time for that, you think? And then I'm done. So I think you know this. 211 degrees water is hot, 212 it boils. So that's exactly where I was. I was at the boiling point, or right at 211 degrees, and I had to turn it up just one more notch, even though I didn't want to.